My name is Ean McDonald. I'm the manager at Computers for Schools Yukon, and I like appearing on Zoom shows. So this is perfect.
Awesome. Ian, can you tell us what you do?
Yeah, so I head up a training program. So we hire people that have little to no experience in the job market, particularly if they're trying to get into technology. So that's one um, tangent or facet. Facet is the word. So we're training them to be better workers in the future, hopefully being able to launch them into permanent work in tech here in the Yukon. The other side of things is education in the community and taking older technology that still has a lot of life in it from the government mostly, breathing new life into it if need be, and passing it on to people for little to no cost.
Awesome.
That's the brief version.
That was great.
Okay, so how does the work you do contribute to the growth of the local tech industry?
Well, in terms of the basic way, it would be talent. So we're giving them a running start to know the basics, with the understanding that if they get another job, they're probably going to have to be trained, specialized from there. But at least they'll know come to work showered. Um, uh, yeah, how to install an operating system on a computer and basics like that in the tech field to get them going.
What does a regular day look like for you?
Like for my position specifically, or for our shop? Maybe
Uh,
a little of both.
yeah, do a little bit of both for the
All
people
right,
that you work with and then for yourself.
sure. Our shop, right now specifically, it looks different with COVID being the looming threat. But aside from all the scrubbing down and making sure things are clean, we're working with clients who have a need, which is a computer. They may not even know the specific needs, so we try to anticipate them and ask them questions to discern, do you need it for more than just web browsing, or are you going to be looking to take courses or play the odd game? Um, Give them a laptop versus a desktop, and if they can plug in directly to a modem, or do they have wireless internet. All these details are important because otherwise they take the computer home and can't use it. So we determine that and get a computer ready. So getting a computer ready can mean cleaning it out. Some of these things have sat on a shelf and they're in great condition, but they're dirty. Replacing components. That's something people don't normally do. So that's a new experience. Testing out things to make sure that it works. Um, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for that. Then just making sure that it's ready to go out the door. Um, I guess in other days, developing courses, maybe not courses, but workshops. That's where this is going to go, I understand, since we can't meet in person. So training the community to use that technology, not really responsibly, but safely anyway. Um, for me personally, I don't have any specific training. I might actually be getting ahead on some questions here, but I didn't take any specific training in computers. I just have people skills and customer service skills that I learned from other jobs. And so I'm over watching everyone delegating work, which didn't seem like it was a tough job before, but it is tough to make get things for other people to do that you'd rather do yourself. Um, and answering questions the whole time. So it takes mental bandwidth.
And interesting things you have ever done in your current career?
Oh, okay. One thing that it's along those lines, I regret not doing when we had more equipment, have you seen, there's a picture of a chair and it's like the Game of Thrones layout with keyboards. I missed out on that. Now we don't have many keyboards, but that would have been fantastic. For me personally, I love doing the events where you're talking to a group of new students that are wondering what they can do in the future, showing them what we do and that it can be exciting and interesting. I like those events. I haven't done anything super crazy in my work, but we've done some cool work with building a big server in our office and dealing with some of that kind of technology and networking and stuff. It's really interesting.
Knowing that you don't have a background, this is a different question. Sorry, Ziad, I have a follow-up. Knowing that you don't have a background necessarily in technology or computers, what do your what kind of background do your employees have? Have they done formal training, or are they straight out of high school and just wanting to learn? What does that look like for them?
We've had some. We've had one guy that was trained at SAIT out of Alberta, all the way down to people that are just fresh out of high school. They've had an interest, a hobby interest or enthusiast interest in computers and just want to learn more, and they know generally they're wanting to go that direction. So we've had everything in between.
But was there someone that motivated you or inspired you to get into the job that you're doing? And at the same time, do you think that there's something, I know you're speaking for your employees, but is there something, do you think, that inspired your employees to get into the work that they're doing now?
I'd like to say that I inspired them. That's a fever dream. Yeah. For me, it wasn't actually a very poetic start. What inspired me was I needed money and my friend Jason needed some help. So I used to work for Shaw Cable, and I got, without a huge history, I got promoted out of the job, sort of. So I got fished back up to the Yukon, and he started me as a technician, and we quickly found a place in administration. And then when he left to private industry, I took over the position of manager and had to learn really quickly how to run things. For the technicians that come in, they're probably inspired by tech giants. Bill Gates has done crazy things from a small start. Steve Wozniak, names like that on the big picture. But we do have some pretty smart tech people just here in town as well, and it's a small community. So I think there's a lot of inspiration to pull from business owners here in town too.
And do you have any recommendations for students who are looking to take a similar career path as you?
Yeah. First off, don't waste the time in other jobs. Like I say, from a cashier's perspective, that's how I started out. That's where I learned a lot of my interpersonal skills. You can concentrate on character development in those lowly jobs that are really important nowadays. And a lot of people seem to just kind of skip over that, thinking, okay, I'll learn everything I need to know once I get into trade school or whatever, but take every advantage you can in the jobs that you're stepping up to those points, I would say.
And for your technicians, do you think they'd have any recommendations for high school students, or for, someone who's in their 20s or 30s trying to figure out what they want to do? Do you think they'd have any advice or recommendations?
The biggest recommendation is how much information is out there. So if they don't know a question, and if I don't know the answer, or something along those lines, I get them to ask the internet. YouTube has a ton of resources for how to dissect a computer and replace components and all that kind of stuff, so you can learn right where you're at. And even when you're a specialist in a workshop like ours, you tend to keep on going back to those reference materials just because you can't keep it all in your head. So there's nothing cheaty about it, using the tools at hand.
Do you think your technicians, sorry, Ziad, I'm going off script here. Do you think your technicians, because a lot of them move on after this job, what do you think they'll do after this job? Will they be motivated to maybe do something else or follow a similar path, or what do you think that'll look like for them?
We've had a few technicians that at the end of their term with us, they've just full on said, you know what, I found out that maybe full tech work isn't exactly where I want to go, but the training has still been super useful. Nowadays, there's not a lot of jobs that don't use a computer in some way. So being able to be that maybe a soft tech for your next boss, that's hugely powerful. But the people that want to keep on going into tech, yeah, there's been some of our staff, our technicians have gone on to government jobs. One is currently the lead technician for Carcross Tagish First Nations, or consultant anyway. So working on server technology and file backups and all of that really important stuff. So they've gone on to jobs where there's a lot of trust put into them.
I can't remember if you answered this already, but do you offer any certifications through your training? Like, is there a certificate or anything like that that you?
Not an official certificate, except for the Ean seal of approval.
Yes.
We used to be certified to kind of offer some training for the A+ certification, which is recognized globally as kind of, here's your tech kindergarten certificate. That's the starter line. It was really hard to get the actual certification though, because the one place that was doing the testing here in Whitehorse closed. They weren't able to do it anymore. So the closest was Anchorage or Vancouver. So the training is still kind of nice, but in the work we're doing, it seemed a little bit deeper than what we needed to do.
Okay.
And outdated. So that is one problem with tech training when it's in book form. As soon as it's printed, it's outdated in some way. So the internet has been invaluable to us for training and trying to keep up on skills and security knowledge and that kind of thing.
Okay. So do you think in the future you'd start to evolve in the training that you're providing?
Possibly. Well, and I recently just found out that the A+ training, they're allowing testing online now. So we'll be looking into that again. It wasn't possible in the past because you needed a locked room that was supervised with a locker outside and like soundproof to a certain amount. So very difficult to get licensed as a testing center, but now they're allowing it on people's computers. So.
It sounds too like your technicians are getting so much on the job training, like they have to be self-motivated to fix a problem when it arises. I've seen it. Yeah. I've been in your office and they're just so focused, and yeah, it sounds like this kind of job you would have to be super self-motivated to figure out what happens next.
Yeah, we try to encourage technicians to take on every work order as their own. So they get the credit for fixing the computer up and getting it ready for the client. They answer the questions after if there's a problem. They take responsibility if there's a breakage. But it adds for accountability and that interpersonal development that a lot of technicians maybe don't get nowadays. There's a lot of people that are really good at technology that don't have the customer service skills.
Yeah, and that's so important that we totally forget. We think a lot of technicians are just sitting behind a computer all day long, but without those interpersonal skills, they're not really able to succeed in the same way.
No. Well, and there's a lingo that technicians fall into that normal human beings don't understand. And I know this firsthand because there's things they say that I don't understand, but I understand enough that I can help translate it. But that's a skill we want to pass on to the next generation. So
100%, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so your final question, I
this
think,
is when the spotlights come down and hot seat.
the hot seat. Given how technology is constantly evolving, what types of technology businesses could or would be created in the Yukon in the near future, in your opinion?
Oh, right, yeah. One thing we'd been passing around, it would take a lot of starter seed money. Server farms would be fantastic here, because one of the big challenges is the amount of heat that they generate, and you could cool them so easily up here. The other hurdle would be power and bandwidth, but if some of those roadblocks were removed, that would be a really cool thing to do up here. We have the space. It could be subterranean, all sorts of cool ideas.
Yeah, could have Google.
For someone who doesn't know what a server farm is, can you explain what I'm just picturing like growing plants out of servers, which is not what that is.
The term on the cloud, you've heard of things being on the cloud. Yeah. So all websites, any source of information that's on the internet is on a server, which is just a big computer hosted somewhere in the world, usually in multiple locations. There's redundancy, so if something wrecks one server farm, there's still another one that can pick up the pace. And so that's all it is. It's a big grouping of lots and lots of computers that are designed to just be efficient and pump out information and store it.
A big backup almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I have a fun question. In this weird, strange pandemic time we're living in, would you rather see computers take over the world or a zombie apocalypse?
Oh man, I'm torn. And a lot of tech people are also geeks, and they'd be torn as well. Wow. I think we'd fare fairly well against zombies, maybe. I don't know, like the upwards capability of computers and machines for strength, and like I'm thinking zombies would be a lower bar.
Yeah, it's like
maybe we don't know. We haven't experienced either one, right?
Like Terminator or The Walking Dead. Which one?
Yeah, that and Terminator just looks so bleak, right? Whereas Walking Dead, there's people that get through it.
Get through it eventually, but only if they're the slow zombies. If they're the fast ones, then
yeah. What is it? World War Z?
No, they can't be the 28 days later or whatever that. No, they have to be the Walking Dead zombies.
When they're speed running and piling up and climbing over walls and stuff. No, I'm not an agile person, so.
No. See, the World War Z scenario will not work for me. I'd have to start hanging out with people who are less in shape than I am.
Yeah, that's right. Choose your friends on a different level instead of intelligence. It's how slow are you?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ian, for
this was great.
Joining us between three computers. That's a really cool name, Ziad. I think we should. And also thank you for all the hard work you're doing. You are really changing the game right now for students that don't have computers at home. And it really makes a difference for their education now that everything's virtual.
Well, I've said it before, but it's just a privilege to have this job. Like, there's no other jobs where you get the payoff of investing computers for really cheap into people's lives without having to purchase them for really expensive prices or something like that. It's just such a unique job, and being able to see the difference between someone you hire and 6 months later who they are going out into other jobs, it's fantastic. So it's an honor.